Star Wars Outlaws, the upcoming Star Wars game from Ubisoft, represents the very worst trends in the so-called AAA gaming space, plus a new scummy manipulation. Ubisoft does not want you to buy this game. And I'm not saying that as a joke, like, oh, it's so bad, they're begging you not to buy it. I'm serious. They don't want you to purchase this game for the scummiest reason of all. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go through the announcement of this inevitable pile of garbage and how it is the culmination of all the worst parts of the gaming industry.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
First up, you've probably seen a lot of talk about this face right here. A large piece of the discourse surrounding this game, and some others recently, is the purposeful changing of the female character models. Here is the woman who was used as a reference for the main character. You know, the motion capture process and the power of modern consoles allows for a picture-perfect recreation of a human face. So whatever was done to this character was done on purpose. And this isn't some conspiracy theory, it's simply pattern recognition at this point. Mary Jane in Spider-Man 2, this androgynous thing from Fable, Abby from Last of Us 2, Aloy's Glowdown in Horizon 2, it's clear that there is a concerted effort in the game industry to turn down what some believe to be hypersexualized character models. When the opposite happens, outlets like IGN are up in arms, and weirdos like Gita Jackson in this Inverse article, talking about the new game Stellar Blade, whose character assets are we still saying bootylicious? Is that old? Anyway, Gita says the fact that the main character Eve does not acknowledge her own sexiness is actually damning evidence of gamers' insecurities. Quote, she has no idle animation. She just stands there. She's sexy, but doesn't know it. She's athletic and acrobatic, but entirely controllable. If she did know, if she could move for herself, it would shatter the illusion of many of the gamers championing her, because she'd have the agency to be able to reject them rather than simply be controlled by them.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Okay, checking the Twitter. They, them in the bio. Look at how shocked I am. She's controllable because it's a video game character. If you don't move the sticks, they don't move. That's how video games work. Okay. I know some game journalists who wish the characters did play by themselves. Am I right, boys? That was a professional games journalist failing a game tutorial. You know, I'm a professional of getting you to hit the like button. Anyway, the character model in Outlaws looks weird, which ordinarily would not be a huge deal if it weren't happening around the same time that we are now discovering large developers like Ubisoft are lazily outsourcing parts of their development to consulting firms like Sweet Baby Inc., whose founder, Kim Belair, has been in the news for calling gamers picky babies because we don't lap up what she thinks is important. So it's not so much the character models and what they look like, it's the implied insult that gamers are a bunch of lecherous gremlins who need to be taught a lesson about
the male gaze.
You're perverted, barely human.
But the homely heroine is such a minuscule issue when compared to the greedy pricing and game design. Of course, none of this should be a surprise, since it is made by such a merdique, dégoûtant company like Ubisoft. Right away, we have a tiered pricing model for digital products. You know, a deluxe edition or collector's edition used to be a physical package with collectibles. That's why they were limited and expensive. Now, a digital super ultra deluxe edition comes with maybe a soundtrack, a half-hearted PDF with some concept art, and an outfit for the game character. A digital change of clothes.
Youngsters, I know you're having fun. I used to have fun myself, but there's something you need to know. Stuff like that? That's a load of crap. That's a load of crap.
Ubisoft says the lowest price point of $70 is the base price, but as we will see, that is a flat-out lie. $70 is the late version with missing content. The next tier up, the Gold Edition, is the actual base game, which is on time. This game actually costs $110 because that is what gets you the full game, not the one that's intentionally missing pieces, and you get to play it on launch day, not 3 days late. For an extra $20, that's 130 smackaroos for you counting at home. The Ultimate Edition of this single-player game comes with some cosmetic outfits and a digital art book. You know, that's the PDF with random files the dev team happened to not delete. I point out the single-player part because in a game like Fortnite, you are incentivized to buy cosmetic outfits because other people will see you in the game space. It's the same reason any of us wear fashionable anything. But Outlaws is a single-player experience. They are, for $20, selling you digital clothing that will be seen by no one. But the gold tier is the one that I want to rant about for a minute. As I said, this is the base game, not the $70 tier. That's the Temu version. That's the great value version. That is an incomplete game that you receive a 3-day late penalty for buying. Here's the thing. Games launch on Tuesdays. Almost always. It's basically industry standard at this point, and Ubisoft mostly abides by it. The overwhelming majority of their games go out on Tuesday, like everybody else, and a handful go out on Thursday. Outlaws is not releasing on Friday with a 3-day early access. You know what 3 days before Friday? Yeah, that's right. It's releasing on Tuesday, August 27th, and you plebs who bought the Broke Boy version are penalized, and you have to wait until Friday, August 30th. Now, you can use that 3 days to reflect on why you didn't pay your $40 tribute to Emperor Yves Guillemot.
Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so.
Son of a... The other reason that the Gold Edition is the real base game is because it comes with the complete game. Unlike the pared down peasant version, it comes with a bonus! Day 1 DLC! Which is frankly a slap in the face. Ubisoft, can I ask you a question about the average gamer?
Does he look like a bitch?
Day 1 DLC means a piece of the game that was carved away just to be sold back to the player. In this game, you will be working your way through the Star Wars criminal underworld, and sometimes working for Jabba the Hutt. Honestly, just brief aside, the premise of the game sounds fun, except that it has the word Ubisoft on it. That Day 1 bonus is simply an extra mission for Jabba. It's the most disgusting practice imaginable. If, at launch, you have an extra mission available as a bonus, that only means you removed the mission from the game and you set it aside pretending that it's extra. The $110 base version also includes a season pass. Once again, marketing a season pass for a full-priced single-player game simply tips your hand that these things are already in development and you have made the choice to withhold them in order to leech more money from your audience. There is no justification for planned DLC. That is a glorified microtransaction. Usually, 99% of the time, okay? Some companies hand out massive amounts of free updates and extras, and if they do charge for an expansion that was in development before launch, that expansion, that DLC, is larger and better than most whole games and wins awards on its own. Yeah, Witcher 3 won Game of the Year in 2015, deservedly, and then in 2016, its expansion, Blood and Wine, won Best RPG of the Year. That is the exception, sadly, not the rule in modern gaming. DLC used to be a bonus for a game that performed exceptionally well. The developer already owns the game assets, the code that makes all the controls work. Most of the work has already been done. Not too long ago, a DLC would be announced if a game sold particularly well and the players wanted more, and the developers now had this boon with which to make more of the game. Often it would be a chance to work in some mechanic or characters that ended up on the cutting room floor, and now, hey, we had great sales. Let's dust off those ideas we wanted to implement but couldn't. Now, DLC is already planned and consists of content that would easily fit into the game, but was clearly just held back for extra money. Yeah, I'm gesturing too much. My watch thinks I'm working out. That's how worked up I am. I am an unashamed simp for Hidetaka Miyazaki, who made all the Elden Soulsborne Ekiro games that everybody loved. No. He didn't make you, okay? We tolerate you. I respect there was some experimentation, we were trying new things, that's why we allow you to sit on this council, but you are not granted the rank of master. Miyazaki-san respects his customers, and after Elden Ring was the best-selling game From Software had ever sold by a wide margin, he gave us some free updates, and then got to work on an expansion that is dropping on June 21st, and I have no doubt that it will be enormous and will contain entirely new mechanics. It's not going to simply be a section of the game that was clearly hacked off only to be sold back to the customer later, and it will almost certainly be worth the 2-year wait. Toot! Yeah. The hype train has left the station, and I am on it, because From Software has earned that. But Ubisoft has not. And what I expect from them and Star Wars Outlaws, based on the DLCs for their other games, is an experience similar to what I had with Borderlands 3. Now, I got sucked into this one because Borderlands 2 was great. I pre-ordered the Super Deluxe Ultra Mega Season Pass bundle. I have sinned. That entire game was a giant disappointment. Oh look, the villains are Gen Z influencers who started a cult.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.
But the DLCs were especially terrible. I only played 2, and I barely finished the second. That was Hammerlock's Wedding. They were skimpy, they had no real story, they added nothing to the game. They were cheap cash grabs. And they grabbed my cash, and I'm bitter. Oh, and after the first 4 mediocre DLCs that some of us paid for in advance, the ones that were already in the works well before the game was finished, they announced a second season pass with new stuff. And some people who pre-ordered the Super Mega Bundle, putting faith in the company and cash in its accounts well before the game released, supporting them ahead of time, we were told those extras would be $30.
Money, please.
Okay, technically, I knew that I was buying 4 expansion packs. It was just a bit more salt in the wound. I just have no idea why everybody hates their CEO, Randy Pitchford, so much.
You're a real fun guy. Fun guy. This is fun! This is fun!
I did not realize how bitter I was about that till I started writing this. Another Ubisoft game that I actually liked, Immortals Phoenix Rising, is also what I expect from Ubisoft in the DLC department. That was a basic reskin that didn't add anything to the game in any meaningful way, and all 3 were very boring. But why do I keep saying, oh hey, it's Ubisoft, of course it's crap? Well, this company has a history of poor game design and money-grubbing practices, and what I've seen from Star Wars Outlaws gives me 100% confidence that it will be more of the same. First up, the trailer proudly told us it's an open-world game, and that term has turned into poison, especially when coming from Ubisoft. Some time ago, they became obsessed with having the biggest open worlds ever in games. Gigantic things!
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
The issue is that those worlds are empty and boring. The Assassin's Creed games have become hugely bloated, full of fetch quests and, oh hey, why don't you just go over to the other side of the map and kill some rando with 0 story and then come all the way back. Oh, and make sure you climb all those towers to uncover the map. Ubisoft games are all the same. Full of the same boring crap. So based on their history, I'm ready for Star Wars Outlaws to be an enormous galaxy! Full of basic game logic fetch quests and NPCs with 1 line and 3 minutes of travel between points of interest. I'm also ready for a microtransaction store in a single-player game. You can buy cool outfits and gun skins and ship skins that no one will ever see. The fact that the $130 version comes with extra skins means they have an artist making outfits. Now, it's possible that you can just earn all these outfits in-game from doing challenges. Or, like their previous Assassin's Creed games, there will be a storefront for you to buy the coolest ones. Also, probably some Imperial credits or some such crap so you can buy experience boosts or bypass security scanners or something. If your customer has already paid you full price for a game and you have an artist making outfits and customizations, your #1 best move is to charge them for it. Milk your audience for all they're worth.
See? I told you! They milked you!
But that's where all of this leads. Ubisoft wants to bleed you monthly. As I said at the beginning of the video, they do not want you to purchase this game. They don't want you to purchase any game. What good are you if you only purchase something once? I mean, maybe you'll buy some of those cosmetics, but that's not good enough. Ubisoft wants to keep dripping you dry for years. So this overpriced nonsense is nothing more than a manipulation tactic to funnel you into their subscription service. Honestly, them trying to get you to subscribe, it's just pitiful. When everything exists just to push you into subscribing, it makes me sick. That's right. Look at this handy chart that shows you what an amazing value the subscription is. All of this worthless crap that they're giving you with the $130 Ultimate Edition? Well, that can all be yours for only $18 a month.
Just a token, really, a trifle. You'll never even miss it.
But wait, there's more! You also get access to over 100 of their mediocre to terrible games. The list is on their site. You can go look. There may be a handful that look any good. And you're going to tell yourself, oh, look at these old ones. I used to love those games. And you might download one or two and play it for 30 minutes, and then you realize it really hasn't aged that wonderfully, and then you'll never touch it again. I'm not against game subscriptions. I think they can have value. I have the Xbox and PlayStation mid-tier. The tiered system is, God, so stupid. But a subscription service can be good in some scenarios. What Ubisoft is trying to do with this game is overprice it so that you feel like you're getting a good deal, and they're hoping that you just forget and they get several months or years out of you. That is the end game for Ubisoft. They want to rent games to you monthly. They foresee a world where you don't own any games. There was a bit of an uproar earlier this year when Ubisoft manager of subscriptions, Philippe Tremblay, said that in order for their subscription service to really take off, gamers are going to have to get used to not owning their games. That was the quote that went wild, but he does continue on here saying that he, quote, understands the gamers' perspectives with that, but as people embrace this model, they will see that these games will exist, the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them whenever you feel, and that's reassuring. But the problem here is that they might not exist. As of April 1st, Ubisoft's The Crew is no longer playable because that car game was online required even when you were playing alone. So as the years went by and the multiplayer side died off, Ubisoft understandably decided they didn't want to pay for the servers anymore. But since the single player portion of the game was tied to those servers, customers lost access to a game they paid for when the servers went down. Just imagine you put in your DVDs of The Office and NBC decided, they don't want to support that show anymore, so they just don't work.
No, don't like that.
Now, Star Wars Outlaws will not be online only all the time. You can play the single-player game without interconnection, but you are required to have access to install the game. What this means is that even if you own the physical copy, it's useless to install without Papa Ubisoft to approve the install. Not that I imagine the disc version of the game will be any good anyway. Massive day one patches are simply par for the course in the AAA game space. AAA is outdated. Ubisoft tried to coin quadruple A. So what do? AAA games are trash, and they keep pushing newer and more brazen monetization tactics on you while delivering games that are worse and worse, to the point that you wonder if it was a prank release and the real working version is coming tomorrow or something. The answer is simple. Stop buying. Stop pre-ordering. Stop participating in any kind of storefront, especially when a fake digital currency is involved. Stop signing up for game subscriptions just for one game. Stop buying AAA games until they prove their worth and quit treating you like a resource to be harvested over and over. But what will I play, you ask? That's an easy one. Small and medium-sized developers are making games you would not believe are so good. Right now, I'm finishing up Tunic. At least, I think I'm finishing up. It's kind of hard to tell where you are in that game. Admittedly, I don't love the start of this one. They're going for like a Dark Souls opaque mystery, but I think it's a little too frustrating for no reason. But once you run past all the enemies in the beginning and you get the sword and not the stick they give you, then you're good to go. And once you realize there is a hidden layer to this game, you'll be playing it with a pad of paper next to you like it's 1993 and you're trying to escape the island of Mist. It's excellent design, and it's so much fun to play. Also, anything made by Supergiant. I've talked about them before. They're a bit larger now, but that's because every single title they have made is a banger. My personal favorite is Transistor. Your sword talks to you in the most soothing voice imaginable. Their follow-up to the extremely popular Hades is coming to early access this quarter. As I write this, a live technical test came out. It looks amazing. I've mentioned Lies of P in the past. This one is so good, you might think FromSoft actually made it. Moon Studios makes the Ori games. Though they are now owned by Microsoft, these games are fantastic. There's so many good games that you haven't heard of because they aren't Call of Battlefield, Assassin's NBA current year. You owe it to yourself to try them out, and this is where a subscription can actually bring you value, just not the one from Ubisoft. There's a debate whether Netflix-style subscriptions are ultimately good or bad for the industry and us players. I might address that in another video, but for now, I'm just going to tell you my personal favorite is Xbox Game Pass. If they had an affiliate program, I would have a link for you below, but they don't. So this is just me telling you that I pay for this and I use it. If Sony ditched the stupid tiered pricing system and made their library interface more user-friendly, maybe I could one day recommend them. But for now, Game Pass is an excellent value, and it has a bunch of smaller games that maybe you wouldn't have taken a chance on or even noticed. But I think you will be pleasantly surprised with many of them. What's a smaller game that you think more people need to know about? Spread the love in the comments. And if that tidbit earlier about Sweet Baby Inc. made you want to know more, well, I've got a whole breakdown right here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.